Hello and welcome, everyone. We have a great group of attendees today, so we want to thank you for being on this webinar today. This webinar is focused on the new AP Computer Science Principles course. My name is Lynn Diaz. I'm Senior Director in the AP program. I'm a former middle school and high school math teacher, and I've worked with many educators since I started here at the College Board over the last 8 years in the development of this new AP CS Principles course. I've also worked to coordinate CSP pilot school or pilot sites across the nation and can attest to some of the exciting elements of the course that we're going to talk about today. We are in the final phase of exam development, ready to launch this course next fall. It's fall of 2016. We're extremely excited to have this opportunity to touch base with you today. This is the right time, and we hope we'll answer all your questions so you know exactly what needs to be done in your school to include this AP course, this new course in your repertoire. And if you haven't added this course to your catalog, we hope you will do it soon so that students can start enrolling in this course. So without further delay, I want to introduce our main presenter for today. His name is Greg Fleischer. He's a great educator, an advocate in the STEM and computer science education field. He's a former AP computer science teacher. He is also the co-founder and chief academic officer of the National Math and Science Initiative. You probably know this as NMSI. NMSI provides intensive support for teachers in AP Math, Science, and English courses. They have been, associated in helping schools increase their exam taking in AP, in SAT, and ACT, and in college matriculation. They have a special commitment to this new course. We're very happy that 3 of the schools that were part of the original pilot for this course were participants since the very beginning. So we're very honored to have him speak with you today about this incredible opportunity for your school. So with that, Greg, I'll turn it over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for attending this webinar on introducing the new AP Computer Science Principles course. We're referring it to CSP throughout the presentation. I have personally been involved with the launch of many new AP courses throughout the years, but I can honestly say I've never seen the enthusiasm for anything like this new CSP course. We've done several webinars. Each webinar has, this webinar is about 700 of you guys attending. The previous webinars had that many. There's been a lot of people excited about it at the College Board Forum. And the fact that you're taking time out of your day today to learn about this new course is a testament to the excitement of the potential of this course. Throughout the presentation, you're welcome to type in any questions into the chat. These questions will be reviewed, and a number of them will be answered at the end of the presentation. So most of the questions that you type in, we'll be able to get answers to, and if not, we'll make sure you get answers to all your questions about the new course. So the agenda for this webinar, we're going to be talking about why this course was developed, the structure and details of the course and the exam, the assessment, and the best practices and resources for how to bring this CSP, AP CSP course to your school, and especially to recruit traditionally underrepresented students. So before we get started, we wanted to show you this video to hear what educators and students have to say about this course.
I see computer science everywhere. Smart medicine that can monitor your body.
National security issues.
Sonar technology to view the inside of your body.
It's saving lives. It's helping people.
Computers have transformed everything we do.
Computer science principles is a broad introduction to computer science.
It's not about syntax. It's about creativity.
They can read and understand how the internet functions.
By the time the course is over, they'll have several apps that wouldn't exist if it wasn't for their learning.
I ask my students to look at the world and to think about things that are in their world in terms of data.
They can actually understand how instructions are given to the computer.
We went from talking about how the internet travels and how computers started to where the first computer bug came from. an actual bug. I have people from the basketball team, football team, people in interior design, theater, tech people. Somebody takes my class, they're in the band, they want to learn about music, I'll teach it to them on a program that has to do with music.
I felt like I was in the studio just making a hit for everyone. This is what I've been waiting for forever. Just showing your flavor, just showing everything through code is just amazing.
Being able to press, enter or run and see my world pop up.
It's just like painting or drawing.
That cursor is your paintbrush.
A lot of girls are intimidated because they see computers as like a guy thing. If more girls were encouraged, then that wouldn't be an issue anymore.
You don't even think you're creative. And then you have a course that makes you see yourself as creative.
It kind of feels like a new light has turned on.
Computer science, I feel like, has really helped me with my confidence.
The biggest change I see in students is their confidence.
This class teaches kids how to think.
Computer science can empower. Computer science is a source of making that could lead to that power.
My friend and I, we just look at each other, we're like, oh my God, we finally got the code.
We have breakthroughs, we make discoveries. Wow, a bunch of ones and zeros did that.
Coming into that class and seeing I can design my own thing is such a powerful thing. Awesome.
The biggest takeaway for me from this video is that this is not about a course that's about rote memorization. It is about how to think, as Arturo Lopez mentioned in the video. It really is going toward where most of the College Board redesigns, if you've been familiar with the redesigns of the courses, it's how to get students to think and not just to memorize certain facts. And there's lots of things we're excited about this course, and we'll share some of those with you. But that's really a great piece of what this course is about. Before the College Board considers a new course, they make sure that it's a course that will benefit students so that they'll be more likely prepared for college and earn a college degree. Then they poll universities to make sure that it's a course that the universities would consider offering credit for. Then they gather the best minds in the field to put together a framework and pilot it to make sure it maximizes student learning. As you can see from this slide, it's an 8-year process with the culmination in 2016-2017 school year launch. So why AP Computer Science Principles? Well, as illustrated here, the Bureau of Labor Statistics anticipates that of the 9 million STEM jobs available in the next decade, half will require computer experience. Computer science experience is fast becoming an imperative for today's students in the workforce of tomorrow. And now this isn't necessarily computer science, the programming, but it is computer science experience. So we think that this course is going to be a great launching point for students in many disciplines, just like students need statistics for biology and economics. It's the same thing for computer science. It's a core foundation of what students are going to need to be successful for the jobs of tomorrow. And this is, you can see from this slide that in 1985, there were 37% of computer science majors that were women, and now it's less than half that. And, in trying to unpack why this actually occurred, the original marketing toward personal computers were to men and young men. And I think that had a big part of it. And there's lots of movement now to get more women into computer science, and there's been success in that. But this course is a great equalizer for that. This course is not, as you'll see later, it's not a full programming course like a CSA, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. It introduces students to the foundations of what computer science is, and it really launches them into other computing and needing that foundation in general. So we really hope this course is going to really assist with traditionally underrepresented students. As you can see, that CSA is the fastest growing exam in the last 5 years. So this is the current computer science principles course that's basically Java programming. And even though women and African American and Hispanic students are growing in this course, it's not nearly the rate that the overall population is growing. So while women and traditionally underrepresented students are growing, the gap is actually widening with this particular course. As far as the development of the AP CSP course, it was, as I mentioned, it was a response to the growing workforce imperative and the lack of diversity rising to meet that imperative that the College Board developed the AP Computer Science Principles course. So they recognized that they need to approach the course differently. The goal was to make computing coursework more engaging and more accessible in order to increase participation by a broader range of students and to build a pipeline of students interested in STEM majors and careers. Now, this, once again, this doesn't mean computer science majors, it means STEM majors. We believe that the foundation of computer science is going to be needed for all STEM majors and other careers going forward. And as I mentioned earlier, it's a 7-8 year process in getting this course off the ground. And once again, the goals, specific goals for this course are making computer science more engageable, reaching traditionally underrepresented students, and better prepare those students for the workforce of tomorrow. Currently there's 26 states, including DC, that allow computer science to count toward a math or science credit, and there's 7 states that require students to take a computer science course to graduate. And there's a lot of push from a lot of great organizations like Code.org and NSF and College Board, where we're really looking to get more of these states where students need to take computer science to graduate. And I think through the efforts of people like Code.org and NSF, I think you're going to see this number grow in the next few years. As far as the actual states, so you can take a look at your state, the red fulfills the math, the blue fulfills math and science, the green, which is Georgia, fulfills science, and the black is the one that has requires science to graduate, which is really what we're shooting for. And I think you're going to see a lot more black pins in this chart in the next few years. So now we're going to take a look at this course in a little bit in more detail. The CSP course introduces students to the central ideas of computer science and challenges them to explore how computing and technology impact the world around them. It can help your students prepare for success not only in CS majors that I mentioned, but also through a broad range of other fields and interests such as the medical field, biotechnology, 3D animation, as you saw in the video, the music industry. And along with the fundamentals of computing, your students will learn how to learn creative problem solving in real world applications, how to apply computational processes to analyze data sets, programming and global impacts of computing, and internet structures and important cybersecurity issues. And as anybody sees the news every month or so, there seems to be a pretty big cyber issue, and students will understand the basics of how that all works. And that's going to be important for everybody for the future. As Lynn mentioned, that this was a piloted course in 68 high schools and universities to date. This is a visual illustration of that. There's all the way from Berkeley to Virginia Tech, and lots of folks in between. If you go to this recording, this webinar is recorded. If you go to this particular site, it's an interactive site, and you can see which universities and which schools were involved in the piloting. But that's a huge amount of piloting to make sure that this course is set up for success at the high school and for college. So a lot of questions that we've received in the previous webinars were, what about the current CSA course? Well, it's not going away. It's a very important course. And when CSP launches in 2016-17, there will be 2 computer science offerings. CSA, Java programming, and the new CSP course. And as you can see, the difference, one of my favorite things about this course is that teachers get to choose which programming language that they are going to have in the CSP course. Now, programming is only a part of the CSP course, but there's going to be lots of different possibilities for them to choose from. Snap, Scratch, Python, Alice, lots of different ones where it's going to be whatever the teacher feels comfortable with, whatever the students, the community knows. So it's going to be a great opportunity for teachers to do that. The assessment's a little bit different. As in most AP exams, the CSAs can continue with the multiple choice and free response, and the CSP course will talk a little bit more. It's going to have the multiple choice, but also 2 performance tasks administered by the teachers and students throughout the year. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up. The overview of the curriculum framework, these are the big ideas that the students are going to learn in this course. They're going to develop a range of skills vital to success in subsequent college courses, such as using computational tools to analyze and study data and working with large data sets to analyze and visualize and draw conclusions from trends. This is a very flexible but rigorous course, CSP Curriculum Framework, that allows to work from established curriculum or one on your own. So later in this presentation, you'll see that the College Board endorses existing curriculum that you can choose as your CSP course, or you can have one of your own. So it's lots of flexibility in that. The computational thinking practices capture important aspects of the work computer sciences engage in. They help students coordinate and make sense of knowledge to accomplish a goal or task. They enable students to engage with course content by developing computational artifacts and analyzing data, information, or knowledge required for computer science. And they require students to learn to collaborate and build computational artifacts and communicate their purpose. And because the content and computational thinking practices are equally important, each learning objective directly correlates to a thinking practice. So we talked a little bit about the overview of the assessments, and for CSP, there's going to be a through-course assessment, which is comprised of two CSP performance tests. The first of which requires students to explore the impacts of computing and create computational artifacts. The second test focuses specifically on the creation of a computational artifact through programming. The 2 performance tasks focusing on computing innovations and programming will not change from year to year. Rather, the tasks are designed to give students broad latitude in personally selecting the focus and topics for their engagement in these tasks. The exam is part in multiple choice format, and that is the multiple choice is going to be 60% of the test. There'll be 74 questions, single and multiple select, where they'll be grouped. The multiple select will be grouped together at the end of the exam, where students get to choose 2 out of 4. And as you can see, the computational artifact, the first one was 16% of the AP exam score, and the second is the 24%. So how do you bring CSP to your school? Well, the first with the basics in bringing CSP to your school, you have to add the course to your catalog. So I know the timing of this webinar is really ideal for many of you as you are starting to have the new catalog for next year. And here's the recruiting a teacher or teachers to teach this course. And in many of the schools, a lot of schools don't have CS teachers. And you don't need necessarily CS teachers to teach this course. Math, science, and even social studies teachers have been successful in the pilot. And the one thing that I would recommend and to recruit if you want to add this course is find a teacher that is passionate about computer science education. passionate about that, and all the supports, the curricular support to teach this course, they're going to have through summer institutes, depending on the curriculum that you would, the teacher actually chooses. There could be support throughout the entire year. If you are a NIMSY school with us, you'll have the same support that you have in other AP, Math, Science, and English courses, having a mentor and having the student study sessions. But the main thing is to get this course, find a teacher who wants to teach the rigors of AP but passionate about computer science education. And then choosing a curriculum, and we'll show some of the options where the CSP partners in the next couple slides. And then you're going to submit a course audit like all your AP courses. It opens in March of 2016, so you don't even have to worry about submitting it until then. You can't because it's not open until then. And then check the recommended classroom resources and make sure your school and classroom aligns with the course recommendations. We'll share what that is in a few slides. And then recruit students. And we say especially underrepresented. In talking with the College Board about this new course, every single conversation talks about the hopes that this course is going to be a course where the AP in the school will look demographically and gender like the rest of the school. Every educator, every school wants to have that, wants to have their AP courses look like what the entire school population looks like. And this is a course, because of the lack of prerequisites for this course, both CSA and CSP only have a Algebra 1 recommendation prerequisite. So because of the lack of prerequisites, it's a huge opportunity to make a change right now in what the AP courses look like, what this particular AP course looks like in terms of with respect to the demographics of your school. And this website, which you'll see again, College Board/CSP Interest, signing up for that will get you in the loop of everything that's happening and evolving with the CSP course and what will be available. And once again, teaching this course, it can be taught by other folks in computer science, teachers, and that is just key. If you want to offer this course, and this is a great AP course that's going to really serve your students well, going to give them a foundation of information that they currently don't have that they're going to need for the future. And this, in recruiting a teacher, is you can look, the natural tendency for most schools is look in the math and science department. And most schools have teachers that want to take the challenge of an AP course. And there'll be lots of supports if they are passionate about wanting to teach this. And so the PD available, is there's going to be summer institutes, just like the College Board always offers through their partners at most universities and some schools around the country. They're going to offer those, and there'll be even if you're an experienced computer science teacher, there'll be opportunities for PD for you to learn how to teach this course. And there's going to be one-day workshops in the fall that is going to be available throughout throughout all the regions and College Board that will be available for new and experienced teachers. And there's a lot more support throughout the year, which we'll talk about. There's an online AP teacher community that's going to help facilitate collaboration. It'll be connected through the collegeboard.org/CSP site, and that's where all teachers who are going to be all brand new teachers, of course, are going to be able to collaborate and get great ideas. And there's partners that are in that you can choose a curriculum that's already approved by the College Board if you and your teacher doesn't want to create one of your own. And there's actually 4 in NSF. There's one that's not listed. I know Jeff Gray out of Alabama. It's Lynn, what is it? NS4? It's something CS4, but we'll make sure that we get that updated. But there's 4 curricula that are approved through NSF that you can go through this. Code.org, which many of you may know, one of the leading organizations that's really gotten computer science really on the map. And they're one of these folks where if you go through their PD, they will be offering PD throughout the entire year also. And Project Lead the Way, another great organization that focuses on engineering, it also has a CSP curriculum that you and your teacher can use. So as you decide on which of these to use or use one of your own, that's going to be one of the keys. And once again, the audit for the curriculum is not even open until in March, so there's plenty of time to choose and research which would be best for you. As far as the audit is concerned, once again, it opens in 2016. It provides teachers and administrators with clear guidelines on curricular and resource requirements that must be in place for AP courses. This is one of my, as an educator, this is one of my favorite things when the audit started, maybe 8 years ago, somewhere around there, that, because a lot of folks, I want to have AP biology in my school. Well, there's certain requirements to be able to have that AP course in the school. And so it helps AP teachers and administrators get on the same page of what is really needed to maximize student success. All schools wishing to label a course AP must submit the subject-specific AP course audit form and the course syllabus for each teacher of that course. And once the audit is completed, you'll have access to sample syllabi, an example textbook, sample syllabus development guides, and the full practice exam. As far as the recommended classroom resources, in order for your students and teachers to be successful in this course, this is really all you need. The student has to have access to course materials, of course, and each student has to have individual access to a computer. One student per computer for an adequate time to complete the course activities. It could mean that students are set up in a computer lab. But because this course is really targeted towards students who may not even have a computer at home, it's very important that the students have this ability to have access to computer in the school. And there has to be internet as well as the tools and programming environments used in the course. And ideally, students will have access to support multimedia explorations such as 3D graphics and sound so that they can be more creative and do what's needed in the work. So as far as we talked about recruiting underrepresented students, here's some ideas and some good ideas from Joanna Good from the University of Oregon, ideas on how to do that. Ideally, you should focus on the course being demographically representative of your school, as we mentioned, and recruit clusters of students to take the class together. Look to different sports groups, clubs, or other courses to find groups of students who enroll and provide social support for each other in the classroom. What we typically do in a lot of our NIMSY schools for existing AP courses, we get football players and cheerleaders to do the recruiting who are currently in AP courses to do the recruiting for us. And sometimes a personal invitation, they need a personal invitation before they'll enroll in computer science. And if you currently have CSA or another computer science in your course, make your course visible by showcasing the current student's computing project. National CS Ed Week in December, which is in next month, the perfect time is usually prior to the course registration. So, and also provide parents with a one-page information sheet that features key questions, applications of the course, potential computing pathways, and interdisciplinary computing majors in higher education, as well as jobs and salaries. And make sure you have these in the appropriate language also. But I think it's important for parents to know that their student needs to take a computer science course, not because they're going to be a computer scientist, but because of almost any field they're going to go into for the future. Okay, going to the next slide. All right, and so the online resources, currently there's that introduction video that you just saw that is gets folks excited. There's an interest form that we would want the College Board and we'd want you to fill out. There's the AP CSP teacher community, the curriculum framework, and there's the AP student site, all on this site right here. And what's coming soon is the teacher administrator brochure, the parent-student flyer, bringing AP CSP to your school. There's going to be the performance task, support the performance task manuals that are going to be there, and it's really, this, as you are starting out with this course, this is going to be definitely one of your favorites on your teacher's computer, because they'll be frequenting this site quite a bit for the latest information. And in coming soon, the course exam description, the people know the Acorn book, the curriculum framework is available now. I mentioned that the through course assessment guide is going to be available in March, and then there's going to be other resources, including sample items and a full practice exam. So I think we're ready now for Q&A. We're going to be answering some of the questions you've been submitting. Continue to send in questions, and we'll try to get to those as soon as possible. So the first question was, did I say that Algebra 1 is a prerequisite for CSP and CSA? Yeah, that is the recommended prerequisite for, as far as the skills that students need to be successful. That's the one course that they probably need the skills to be successful. They don't need to know geometry, they don't need to know the skills that they learned in geometry to be successful in either of these two courses. Can the computers used for this course be Chromebooks, iPads? I'm going to let Lynn chime in on this because she has a little bit more experience with what is needed.
Yeah, I think that what we would recommend are, machines or tablets that you might, first you need access to the internet, so these machines do need to have that capacity. And also, there may be some software that you want to expose students to, so you want to be sure whether it's Chromebooks or tablets or iPads, or regular desktops. You just want to be sure that you are able to load whatever computing tools or software that you want to expose your students to. We're not specifying any programming language or not specifying any particular computing tool, but I believe you would be at an advantage if you were able to, one, get on the internet, and two, load some software tools that you want to expose your students to as they're creating their computational artifacts on these machines.
That's great. And so the next question is, and keep on typing in the questions. I know that you have a lot of them coming in. What support courses do you suggest the school offers other than Algebra 1 prerequisites? Well, that's a really good question. There's lots of schools around the country. If you're going to have a robust computer science offering, then I would recommend a course that would be prior to both CSA and CSP. There's NSF has a research-based course called ECS, Exploring Computer Science, which many schools have, which is the curriculum and everything's free for the course, but that is a course that is that would be prior to these AP courses. Code.org is coming out with a great course that is going to be also prior to these courses, that once again, free and available. So if you're going to have, now are those needed for students to be successful? Needed? No. Would it be supportive, and would it show your strong interest in having a robust computer science offering? Absolutely. And would it help students for these AP courses? It certainly is not going to hurt, giving them even a more basic foundation in these prior courses. The next question, which is taught first, computer science A or computer science principles? And so the official stance from the College Board that students can take either one. And, it's something where I think most schools are going to do CSP first, and the reason why is because the hope is that this is going to be used as a launching pad for students to go into CSA, because they're going to get not just the foundations of computer science, but they're going to get some basic programming in the CSP course, which could get more interested into the CSA. So I think most schools are going to do that. But the reason why the College Board also has that is because, if you have students who are very, very programming focused and want to be a computer scientist, they may taking a CSA course first would make sense for them. So it's because the lack of prerequisites for the courses is why there's no official recommendation, but most schools that are offering both are going to have students do the CSP, CSA pathway. The next question is, can those certified in business education also teach the courses? And the answer is, you have to look at your state requirements, but absolutely. Once again, state requirements of who can teach a computer science course to make sure that if there's any certification issues, in most states, I believe you're going to be just fine. But as far as any teacher, it could be the Spanish teacher. If they are interested, passionate about computer science education, and want to teach the rigors of an AP course, they will learn the content through the PD and through the supports they're going to get. So not only does business education, it could be any teacher that's interested in computer science education. Now, computer science education isn't, Microsoft Word. It isn't all just Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel. So it's something where it's more than just using Microsoft Office. So it's the interest in the entire computer science offerings. Okay, the next question, I think there we are. If we're just in the preliminary phase of wanting to offer this course, should we add this course to our catalog before securing a teacher? If you want to offer this course, I would put it in the catalog. Now, this is my opinion. I certainly would talk to your school board or principal or anybody for the rules, but I put it in the catalog and say, we are committed to offering this course. And then if you have any teacher openings next year, and then recruiting someone who's going to be passionate about that if you don't have a current teacher. So that's my opinion, but I certainly would check with what is, before doing that, to check with the people, your supervisors and your school board and principals to make sure that that's acceptable. But I'd love to have you put it in to show the strong commitment. Will more colleges, universities sign on to offer credit or placement? Right now, I believe there's about 90 or 100 colleges, and I think it's going to grow quite a bit. What certainly helps is that the head of the development committee in developing this course is a professor, a great guy named Owen. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name, from Duke. And he has a lot of credibility in the field. And when he speaks about how important this course is and how it fulfills the requirement of a need at Duke, there's a lot more universities that are going to be on board with this. So the College Board, it constantly promotes and talks to universities about the courses and about how it links to a specific course and why it's important. It says, next question is, please clarify how APCS satisfies math and requirements for both high school diploma and college admissions. So that depends on the state, and it depends. That's your local rules and guidelines. In some states, CS is an elective, and so it would fulfill an elective requirement. In those 26 states, or 25, that fulfills a math requirement. So instead of taking trigonometry, they could take AP CSP, get a math credit, and it will fulfill that high school and college diploma. So it depends on your state requirement of how computer science actually aligns with that. When will AP Central be updated to include this course in PD searches? That's going to be it should be next month when is that right, Lynn? Next month is when we're going to know when some offerings are for the summer?
Yeah, I think it'll come out in December. Yeah, late December.
And Lynn, is HTML acceptable to cover the programming requirements?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yes, it is. That's why I turned it to you.
Yeah, I would say that you need to be careful with, certain programming languages and tools. The most important thing is that whatever students are exposed to, that they learn how to write their own algorithms, and that they learn how to develop their own abstractions, and be able to, justify, I guess, the development of those algorithms and abstractions in helping the program to work the way their program is supposed to work. So, there are some programming languages and tools that, might have better features to do that. So just be careful with that. I think we have some schools that are using HTML and JavaScript combined in our pilot sites. Other programming languages include things like, like Snap, like Blockly, App Inventor, both text-based and block-based languages. But we encourage teachers to just be sure that whatever language or tools they use, that it really does help students, understand at least those two concepts, the algorithms and the abstractions in developing their program.
And if you choose a course curriculum like code.org, they have a really slick language that I think that you'll really like also. That they're creating their own. It's pretty cool. The next question is, can this course be taught solely online with students working from home, or does it need to be taught in a physical classroom? Well, the course, if the student wants AP credit, it needs to pass the course audit, which is going to have certain requirements. As far as teaching it online, there's many courses that are taught online, and can students be successful with it? I think my personal thought is to reach the population that we're all trying to reach with this course. I think that face-to-face for traditionally underrepresented students, face-to-face is going to be much more successful, but it doesn't mean that online is not going to be successful with the type of student. So can it be taught? Yes. If that is the only option, I think that you should explore to see what's best for your students. But can it be taught? If it passes the course audit, it can be the student can get AP credit for that, or to get the AP label, I should say. The next question is, what's the overlap between exploring computer science and AP CSP? Not much, very little, if any. ECS is really, it does do foundational stuff, but it's more basic foundational stuff than the AP CSP. And so it wouldn't be much overlap at all. Students would benefit quite a bit from taking both. Is it possible for a single student to complete a project in place of the group? Lynn, I think, well, I'll let you, they want to know if can a single student work on a project instead of being a group?
Well, currently one of the performance tasks does require students to collaborate in the development of their program. We want students to individually create submit their program, but because collaboration is part of the course, we are asking students to collaborate with another student to receive feedback or get some input on the development of their program. So if a student is not able to collaborate with another student for some reason, that would be considered perhaps an exception, and you would need to make us aware of that situation. And we're still trying to figure out exactly what that process is going to look like. But the thinking is that students will be able to collaborate somehow with another student to get some feedback on that one particular task.
And the next question is, there a syllabus you can look at? No, but it's coming soon. And some sample. There are, through the NSF partners, they have, they've been piloting these, and they're through the NSF partners. There's some sample syllabi that you can look at in terms of for those. And in code.org and Project Lead the Way. But as far as the College Board producing a sample syllabus like they've done for other AP courses, that's going to come in March. Isn't that right, Lynn?
March 2016, that is correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
The next question is, could middle school students, 8th graders, who've taken Algebra 1 take this class? Well, they would have the skills, but, it's interesting. In College Board, there's a lot of 9th graders across the country who take human geography, AP human geography, because they meet the prerequisites. But, the ability, it has to be the ability for students to be mature enough to handle the rigors of an AP course. Theoretically they can, but taking an AP course that young, I think that it might be a little much for some students. If your population is, you have a lot of really talented 8th grade students who did well in the Duke talent search, then it's a possibility. But my personal opinion, it's based on the requirements, you can do it, but my personal opinion is that it's going to be a little tough on 8th graders to take the rigors of this AP course. Are there any limits to the languages, the recommendation of languages? We talked a little bit, about, Lynn talked about some of the limitations of it. The recommendations, there's so many of them. We mentioned, Python, Broccoli, Snap. There's recommendations. It's almost hard to recommend. It's almost like recommending to you what you should recommend to eat at a restaurant, because there's lots of menu items that may appeal to you or your teacher. So there's ones like Alice may be a little bit more sophisticated for someone just learning programming coming out. So I think that having the teacher explore the multitude of possibilities it would be the thing that I would do to see what appeals to them. What is it that is it, whether the interface, whatever it is, what is it that appeals to them that in choosing the language? What is the college equivalent class of AP-CSP? Every university is different, but it's an introductory computer science, the foundations of computer science. If I know that many universities offer this course. Universities, the computer science in the university world, higher ed world, is constantly changing. But the ones that are offering it, it's a foundational course. Is it possible for? I skipped that one. The next question is, what grade levels is this course geared toward? It's not really a geared, as I just mentioned, 8th graders. I'd recommend 8th graders not doing it. It's really not recommended toward any specific grade level. It's those who've met the prerequisite and have the maturity and discipline and want the challenge of taking on an AP course at that time. Frankly, if you ask me my opinion, this is not the College Board's position. But I would think that for students to be successful in this, I wouldn't want them younger than sophomores if it were my school. But that's not to say that freshmen cannot be successful in this course. But as far as the maturity level, what I've seen in most schools, the youngest I'd want is sophomore. But that is my personal opinion. That is not any official position. The official position is not geared toward any specific course. Is this course a semester or year-long? Highly recommended that it's a year-long. If you are on the accelerated block, I just think it's really important that it's a year-long course, that students get the entire year. If you are on the accelerated block and want to offer first semester, then I'd have activities the next semester to keep students engaged. But it's definitely a year-long course. It says, please repeat the math prerequisite. The math prerequisite is the Algebra 1. The next question is, I'm just trying to get through as many as I can. Does the exam require computer and internet access? Yes. as far as every student has to have one-on-one, have to have computer and internet access. Next question, will this course be available for recommendation with AP potential this December? I don't believe so because there's no AP potential uses a correlation of students' PSAT scores to how they performed on AP, since there is no correlation. But there is something with the 8th grade PSAT, isn't there, Lynn, that you're partnering with Code.org about?
Yeah, there is, and it's really, a way to help identify a broader set of students that, are prepared or qualified to take more advanced courses that through other means wouldn't have been identified otherwise. So it's a really neat tool for schools to use. It's a part of that AP potential, type tool for schools to use and help broaden awareness of students being prepared or that meet for that readiness to take advanced courses.
And that's the 8th grade equivalent. So I love this question. Whoever asked this question should buy lunch on me. You'll have to email me. Besides enthusiasm, if a teacher has zero programming experience, what is the likelihood they will be successful in teaching this course? I love this question because that's going to be the case in so many folks. And what I'm saying is that I believe that they can be successful if they are passionate about, if they are enthusiastic. Some of these languages, they can learn. And they can learn, they have now until August, they're going to be going to PD. If they are, training like with Code.org or Project Leeway, you're going to have your own very specific language that they're going to train you with. They can do it. I'm telling you they can do it. And if they feel they can't do it, you want to select a teacher, have them, email this website or even email me at the National Math and Science Initiative, and we'll get them excited about that they can actually do this. But I love this question because I believe that's going to be the case in so many schools. Okay, the next question, how are performance tests created and graded by the teacher, and then how does it affect the score of the student on the AP? Well, they're not graded by the teacher, but I'll let Lynn talk about that.
Sure. So what the performance tasks are these tasks that students will complete pretty much on their own. These are student performance tasks. The teacher designates a certain amount of time for students to complete these in class, but they're completing them on their own in terms of, the requirements in the task. Students will then submit their work to the college board. The college board will score those performance tasks, and then those, the score for their tasks will then become part of what is used to calculate the student's final AP score. But the teachers don't score them. The college board will score them at the AP reading.
And so I think that we have time for. We want to be respectful of everyone's time. This, once again, the recording of this webinar is going to be sent, and you'll have a survey following the end of this presentation. Please fill out the survey, and continue any questions that weren't answered. The College Board will be able to answer. Really appreciate everybody's time, and hope you got the information you're looking for. Definitely offer this course. I have no stake in the game here. I'm not with the College Board, but it's important for the country's future to have the students be able to have this foundational information. So thank you very much, and appreciate your time.
Thank you.